didn't really have body confidence before my diagnosis. I was living in a society which was promoting the idea that a beautiful woman can't really be more than that, meaning you can either be beautiful or smart, so pick one woman. With this in mind, I started slowly hating my body and cover it as much as I could. When I got my diagnosis, it was kind of a confirmation that my body is broken. That's how I used to see it. This made me lose the last drop of confidence that I had. Some years forward, trying to understand my illness made me understand things about me and my body. If I were to say how I feel now about my body, I would say that I'm beautiful. I just tell people about my MS. No point in hiding it. I'm more likely to hide my fear of spiders till I know if I can fully trust the other person. Fun fact, don't know if this counts as a funny story, but I went away on a weekend for young people with MS abroad, and my boyfriend also went abroad for a football weekend. When we were reunited, we had an amazing night, and then suddenly, in the middle of oral sex, he jumped up and produced a ring and asked me to marry him. He said after our weekend apart, he just got too excited to wait until his planned moment. We have had to make a more suitable story to tell our families. No point in hiding it.
This prejudice about my body that it is weaker and more fragile and therefore less lovable than others, that I will never be able to do hard things. With a lot of work and different challenges, I have convinced myself that I can do anything with my body, just like anybody else. And I do not have to be afraid that it will fail me. It took me a decade to get to this point. As I was becoming sexually active around 17 to 18, I realized that I am not getting as lubricated by excitement as my friends had told me that they were. This did not only affect how much I enjoyed sex, because it did. Nobody told me that using a lube would solve that whole problem, but also brought some trust issues into my relationships. I felt a lot of shame because of my body's responses, for not being normal. I had to go through medical school to learn that asthma medicine, along with many other medications, can cause vaginal dryness as a common side effect. I now feel good about my bodily responses and learn to ask my partners for what I need. Your most rewarding sexual relationships will be with the people that you can have the most intimate emotional connections with. Those emotional connections can only occur when you are completely yourself. Accept yourself. Accept yourself.
When my liver failed, I lost all my trust in my body being there for me and functioning. My body felt like a shipwreck at 16, and it took me years to gain back my strength and confidence, both that my body can do things and that I can be attractive to people. By now, I can look at the transport scar as a reminder of the fights I fought and know that I was strong enough to survive. But it was a long journey. I'm wearing it with pride now, which also helps people to think it's a weird scar tattoo. After multiple Tinder first dates, I have figured people will mirror my feelings with their reaction of how I am coming out to them. If I say it as a tragic thing and picture my life as a hard living with it, they will feel frightened and immediately feel sorry for me. Everyone has their own baggage, and well, this is mine. I was having recurring urinary tract infections, which were mostly triggered by sex, and of course due to my low immune system and medication. And for a long time it really seemed there was nothing to do about it. I was already doing all the necessary things, peeing after sex, shower both before and after, even taking some mild antibiotic, and it was still happening often. In my search for a remedy, I scheduled an appointment with a very high-level, well-known doctor who specializes in this. The day of the appointment, I went with all my papers. The doctor seemed very nice. He was an older man, a bit more conservative. I mentioned to him that I've read that sex can be a trigger for such infections. His expression changed. He double-checked my file and very coldly said, "As I can see, you're not married, so no need to worry about that." I was 19 years old at the time. Needless to say, I was very disappointed in his reaction, but also mine. I didn't say anything in return, just sat there, stunned. Everyone has their own baggage, and this is mine.
I am in a wheelchair, so I can hide it. When I was on a dating app, I did not mention my wheelchair. I waited a little before telling the boy I am in it. And I always invited my date in a wheelchair accessible location, and somewhere it's normal to keep my coat because I don't want to ask for help with my coat on the first date. On the other hand, I always get questions from people I don't know very well about my sex life. Sometimes the questions are very strange. I go out for a drink with my friends and someone I have never met just sits next to me and says, I have a very uncomfortable question. Can you have sex? Or how do you have sex? I always imagine how a person without a condition would react to someone randomly asking them, can you have sex? I told this story to a French cartoonist some time ago. She asked me if she can draw the story, and I said yes. So somewhere on the French internet there is a comic about my sex life and the people asking about it. Sometimes the questions are very strange.
When I was young, I felt skinny and weak because I wasn't well enough to do any cardio or strength training, and I also found the idea of going to a gym very intimidating. I always felt that cystic fibrosis was a humiliating and emasculating condition. To compensate for that, I pursued my romantic interests more than my friends. I thought that if I was more sexually prolific, others would see me less as a sick person. Rather than diminishing opportunities, my disease created more opportunities to pursue an empowered sex life. Others often do not perceive you and your disease in the same way that you do. What can feel like a skeleton in the closet to you can barely be worth mentioning to the other people. Do not live your sex life on terms relative to your condition. Be the person that you would like to meet. Be the person you would like to meet.
I've been very self-conscious over the years because with inflammatory bowel disease, you're supposed to lose weight. At least when I was first diagnosed. And my doctor told me I couldn't have IBD because I was overweight. So that has always been stuck in my brain for over 10 years. I'm very open about my IBD and I don't have any issues talking about it. I'm more afraid of needing to run to the toilet in front of someone I don't know or having to be in the bathroom for a very long time. But I like to crack some jokes about my illness, so I have an idea of what kind of guy he is. Actually, once I had a partner who almost shit the bed, and he doesn't even have IBD. He knew all about me and my worries, and I said, "Oh, that's my thing to do," and we laughed for like 10 minutes. It made me realize these things can happen to anyone. These things can happen to anyone.